Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to yet another movie review of IMDb's top 50 greatest films of all time. And this one's gonna make your brain hurt because today we're talking about Memento. Came out in 2000 and is directed by Christopher Nolan. This will not be the last time that you see him on this list, but it is the first. Christopher Nolan's, of course, one of my favorite directors working today, and one of my favorite directors ever, but that's not the point. It stars Guy Pearce, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Joe Pantoliano, and is one of the most confusing movies ever. I just have to say that right now. Here's the plot, and if you just want to watch the movie, just want to try to figure it out for yourself, because it is one of those movies, just stop now, go watch it, come back, hear my thoughts, give me your thoughts below, but I'm now going to discuss the plot of this very confusing film. So it is about a man named Leonard who is trying to find his wife's killer. Alright, pretty straightforward noir. He has a memory problem. Alright, that's interesting. He has a short-term memory problem. He can't make new memories. His memory fades after about 15 minutes. That's really interesting. The movie's told backwards. Just take that in for a second. The movie is told backwards, and it's being narrated by someone with severe brain damage, to the point that he can't feel the passage of time. The last thing he remembers is his wife being murdered. We don't know how long it's been since then, since we follow Leonard, played by Guy Pearce, throughout this story that is told in reverse order. Just take that in for a second. But here's the way it works. You have the opening scene, which shows it's in reverse. The first scene is completely reversed, and then it cuts to a scene in black and white of Leonard sitting in a motel room, and then it goes back to color, and you kind of see how you got to that first scene. Then it goes back to black and white. At this point, you're thoroughly confused, but trust me, I don't want to spoil this movie for you, but I brought I dropped the marker off to a great start. I brought a whiteboard to illustrate the timeline of this film. Okay, come on. Alright. So, we start right here. We start at the very end of the movie's timeline. We then watch it backwards completely to here. Alright? So we start here. We watch it rewind to this point. We then jump back to here and watch it unfold up to there, and that's basically the structure that this movie follows. Confused I was. I actually had to rewatch the movie yesterday, then spend about an hour online trying to figure out what I just saw, then write the notes for this review, then try to... It's an infinitely confusing film, but it's also one of my favorites. I really enjoy this film. I like figuring movies out. I like having to go online, look into them, and kind of get realizations about what I just saw. Like, oh, this makes sense now, and this makes sense. I didn't get that the first time. Then you watch it again, and you see stuff that you missed. So if you like doing that, I highly recommend this. If you don't even bother. This is probably the most confusing, most complex film ever made. That or Donnie Darko. I don't know. It's one of the two. I love them both. But this is just bizarre. Donnie Darko at least takes place in chronological order. This is told backwards with intercut scenes of black and white. You have the color scenes, which are told in reverse order, and then you have the black and white scenes, which are told in chronological order. Then you kind of have to figure out how it all fits together, and it actually works really well as a storytelling technique, because you see people taking advantage of Leonard through watching these scenes in black and white. There's one scene where a character comes into a house all beaten up and tells Leonard that someone beat her up and that she wants Leonard to go take care of this guy. Now, we already saw Leonard do that, and then we go back to see how she did it. It's like, oh, she's actually manipulating him. There's very little that I can say about the plot of this film without giving it away, and that's one of the best things about this film, is that you can't really talk about it. You kind of have to watch it and then discuss it with people that have also seen it. If you haven't seen the movie, which I'm not sure many of you have, you are probably thoroughly confused at what I'm saying right now, but watch it and you'll understand. There's a few things that I want to discuss. One of them is Leonard Maltin's review. Memento. He gives it 1.5 stars. That's the lowest ranking that we've seen so far on this countdown. Alright. A man with short-term memory loss tries to keep his life in order while avenging his wife's murder. Is he being helped or manipulated by the people around him? Pretentious Pat plays with storytelling conventions and juggles real-time but adds up to 0, though the film has many ardent fans. Okay, Mr. Maltin, let's discuss your opinion. I could just say that your opinion is wrong and be that guy, but I'm not going to be that guy because I respect you as a film critic, and I'm not just going to completely trash your opinion, but I'm going to completely trash your opinion. That review proved that he saw the movie one time, and he saw it not knowing much about it. Kind of like my mom. My mom does not like this movie at all. She says it's too much work to watch a movie and then try to decipher it like that. This movie is not a maze, it's a knot that you have to untangle that takes years and years and years. The person the article I used to get my notes, they're like, yeah, I saw the movie 12 times, read the script, and then compared that to the short story, and then watched the movie again. I'm like, dude, that's just way too much. I've seen the movie twice, and I think I kind of get it, only because I read an article. It's ridiculous. So, as I was saying before, the thing is, this movie did not get very good reviews upon its first release. Many critics didn't like it. They said that it was too confusing and that it was overly pretentious pap that adds up to 0. If you watch it again, you try to figure it out, it actually does make perfect sense. It's just how long and how much effort is involved in getting there might not seem worth it to some people. To me, I look forward to watching this film again. I want to do it very soon. I'm thinking of just buying the DVD because I had to rent it again. So, yeah, it's, again, confusing. If you don't want to do that, by all means, don't feel guilty that you're not watching the movie. If you're not willing to do that, then you shouldn't watch the movie. Again, I had to research a bunch of stuff to understand it. But again, it makes sense once you figure out what's going on. It's just how long it takes to get there is the problem. There's so much that goes on, and it's so juggled and jumbled around that it's insane. I'm just repeating myself. Again, it requires multiple viewings, but here's one thing that I really want to discuss, and that is the narration. Lots of scenes in the movie are narrated by Leonard, and there's one scene in particular that I think sums up the confusion that this movie has caused perfectly. It's a scene where Teddy, played by Joe Pantoliano, is having breakfast in a diner with Leonard. And Leonard, what he does, he keeps notes and pictures, and he keeps all that around him so that he knows what's going on in his life because he can't remember anything. And then Teddy says, why do you just use those facts? They could be wrong. And he says, memory is unreliable. It can change the shape of a room or the color of a car. Eyewitness testimony is unreliable. Facts, you can't argue with them. Yet, the whole reason he's doing all of this is because of a memory of his wife, and in that, our narrator might be unreliable. Can we trust what we're seeing and hearing through the eyes of someone who has suffered severe brain damage, who might be completely delusional? I don't want to talk anymore about that because it's a very important point of the film. I just wanted to say that is one of the things that adds to how really, really great this film really is. So now, is it any good? I absolutely think so. I think that this is a fantastic film if you're willing to put in the time to figure out what it is and find out the story. I think that it's great. I think that people that are big fans of confusing films or Christopher Nolan, I am a fan of both. I love this film. Is it deserving of its place on the IMDb Top 250? Yes, but at the same time, I'm surprised that it's ranked so high because it does have a pretty limited appeal, it did actually very well at the box office, but it didn't get good reviews from critics, because critics, they have to watch the movie, immediately get an opinion, stick to that opinion, write about that opinion, and publish it to the world. That's the problem there. With, just normal people that don't watch movies as their job, they can watch it as many times as they want, figure it out, and then if they feel the need, express their opinion to the world, which is what I'm doing. I liked it the first time I saw it, but I already knew a lot about it. I knew that it was told in reverse order, I knew the general story, and I knew about the characters. And I knew about its reputation as such a confusing film, so that really helped me with my first viewing. The second viewing kind of enhanced that, and I think that is kind of the big thing. If you watch it multiple times, and if you can watch it multiple times, and then develop an opinion, it helps a lot more than just watching it one time and immediately having an opinion and sticking to it. So in the end, I think that it's deserving of its placement on the top 250. However, I'm surprised that it's placed there. So, have you seen Memento? Tell me what you thought. I actually do want to know what your guys' thoughts on the film were. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is it your favorite movie? Is it, the lowest of the low? Whatever. Tell me what you think. Next up, next up is Terminator 2, actually, so that should be a fun review. You guys will be getting that on Tuesday. And until next time, guys, this is Amp Gaming signing off, and it's not really gaming, actually, it's more, I talk about movies, and I might do gaming. I've already discussed that. I don't know what's going on with this channel anymore, but tell me what you thought about the movie, tell me what you think about the reviews, tell me what you think about Terminator 2 in the next video, I don't know. But did you enjoy Memento? I did. I hope that you do too. Give it a try, really. It is worth your time to see it at least once. I'm dragging on, so I'm going to turn off the camera. Let's go.